Welcome to the Rock and Roll Rowdies.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Yes. See, who's the leader here? Who's organizing stuff? Come on, who's in charge?
Forget it. You put 4 tour managers in a room. Nothing gets organised.
We need a tour manager.
It's organised chaos.
Yeah. So anyway, welcome back, everybody, to Morning Coffee with Brian. We're here with the magnificent Rock and Roll Rowdies and loving these stories. Thanks to everybody that's watching on YouTube and chatting. Thanks to everybody out there in KGRA Digital Broadcasting for being here. We're very appreciative of all you being here and listening. John's had to depart, our friend John, so hope you enjoy the rest of your day, John. So while you're there, they're back. You see, this is an age thing. We all need to know that your bladder can only hold so much.
You got to go potty.
I've been ordered to move down a bit because Mal thinks I'm nervous.
I'm a nervous.
That break could have been a couple more minutes long.
That's right, yeah. You guys you see, if you shuffle the order of your sitting, you're just going to confuse me. I'm getting old too, you know.
All right. I'm still in the same place, I think. Yeah, you're the only one.
Mark is the anchor.
I'm the anchor, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rhymes with.
I'm the guy who tries to organise these.
So, Mark, are you the master? You're the master debater, is what you're trying to say.
Something like that.
Now I've got his elbow. Now I've got to deal with his elbow. I can't work under these conditions.
That's right, yes. It's like, I think mans are prima donnas.
I've got a question for these four.
Well, Dustin will just give me 1 second. So thank you to our great friend, my brother in arms, Darius Munchausen, for a $3 super sticker. Appreciate that very much, mate. And I should have done this for Christian earlier. I'm going to play a clip to thank you.
Take him to Detroit.
No, not Detroit. No, please. Anything but that. No.
So thank you, Darius, who loves that clip, I know. Take him to Detroit. Yes, Dustin, my friend, go ahead.
So you guys are going to be going on tour, so to speak, and doing, all these talks across England and Europe and all that stuff. Who's going to manage you for?
Do you want to do it?
You want a job?
The job's open.
Yeah, bring me over. I'll take care of it.
Come and take care of it.
We'll still have to be. We'll be fighting up to that until the day we leave.
I think we can manage that.
We can manage. Any technical side. Obviously,
we are looking for an agent. We are looking for an agent.
We'll point the finger at Mark for technical stuff, travel. Who knows?
Who's going to set up the backdrop?
Yeah.
I think these guys are fit young men. They'll lead to it.
I can't do it. I'm not allowed to lift anything heavy.
Me neither.
So I need trouble when I go to the toilet.
I knew that was coming.
No.
Yeah, enjoy
no prima donnas. No prima donnas in this band.
So tell us a little bit more about what it is you are planning as the Rock and Roll Rowdies. What do you hope to do and achieve, and what's in the future for you?
Right.
Don't know.
Silence.
Silence is golden.
As far as gigs are concerned, we do want to do some live performances, and it's been suggested by quite a lot of the venues I've just been visiting around the UK, especially people that are really interested in classic rock era, and they want to hear the stories. And the audiences, and I've got to use Wishbone, Martin Turner's Wishbone as an example, the audiences are all in the same age group, and they all love all the details.
They like that backstory.
And so several of the promoters in these venues have said, let's put together some dates. So that should be coming up early 2024, at least a few dates in the UK, and
see where it goes.
And then do a few more broadcasts in the States.
We'll see. Yeah. Something we've never done. Yeah. So we'll give it a shot. If it works, it'll be great.
I think it will work.
We have fun doing it. We have fun sitting here. Believe it or not, we do enjoy this. And
I tolerate it.
We tolerate him.
Courtney's volunteering to be.
The show will be similar to what we're talking about, either being interviewed by yourself. I believe you're going to come with us anyway.
Yeah.
I'm sincerely hoping to be there in the fall.
And
if you're
also,
going to
we'll have sections where, like we recently just reacted to Kashmir and some songs that we're involved with.
Yeah.
But
with Peter Gabriel.
And we'll be doing projections of that stuff, and then reacting to the video. I was, when I was in, Live Aid and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna dig up
highlights. Highlights. Obviously, for me, it was Live Aid. For Granny, it was probably doing the Rumble in the Jungle.
Oh yeah.
After Gnidralog.
After
Once I came down from the Gnidralog experience, and I was in Zaire,
Yeah, Courtney's volunteering to do the tour with you. She's here and she's a certified nurse.
get the crew together.
And apparently she's good at prostate milking, so.
Sign her up. Need help with mine.
Has he got a split van?
Yeah, you should just take the prostate out and just carry it around in a jar. It's a lot easier. So that sounds like a lot of logistics, though, having video clips to be displayed.
Oh, yeah. We're actually been influenced by you, Brian, by the way you cleverly interweave song clippets or photographs and stuff like that into the show. We'll do the same thing in a live situation, like with larger projection.
It's all smoke and mirrors,
Chuck Berry, we're going to take everything you thought of and use it.
That's right. It's all smoke and mirrors. If you're looking for an MC.
I'll do a question and answer thing with the audience and stuff like that, which will be...
I've seen a few of that kind of gigs in the past. I know that I went to one with Randy Bachman did it, and it was more, he'd play a song, but then he'd have 2 or 3 minutes talking about stuff. Yeah. The audience really enjoys that. They really like that.
Francis Rossi from Status Quo. He's up and coming tour. He's doing exactly that. He's sitting on stage in an armchair. He's playing his guitar. He'll do a song and he'll give the backstory to the song and he'll rapport with the.
Yeah, people want to hear that.
With us, it's going to be more about the spirit of being on the road. I mean, I'm not going to tell anybody how to record a record, but we just took it and ran with it. And came from very humble beginnings, and still are pretty down to earth. And have a peek behind the curtain, sort of thing. And we'll have technical questions. We'll take a tea break, and Mark can answer them.
I'm not really a technical man,
No, but a little bit more.
Yeah, it will be just tea at this stage, of course. Just tea.
Yeah, we were going to exercise total control. We would hate to embarrass ourselves.
We have a bit of brandy in the tea
early in the morning.
We just want to have fun, like Mal said. We want to have fun and share a bit of it. Because I do jobs in California. I work small-time things. I meet executives, high-powered executives. And when they hear my accent, they all want to know, what brought you to America? Sex, drugs, and
plane.
And the next thing you know, we're talking. Everybody is interested.
It's not good to document like the history of what happened there. What we were lucky enough to grow up and live through that period, which was a real
live through it. Yeah.
Well, somehow we survived. We are survivors. And I look at turning 70 was an achievement as much as anything else.
But we weren't innovators, and we weren't the inventors of the stuff. But we were there when it was happening, and we all took the thing and we developed it.
We hit the ground running.
I mean, this is the thing that fascinates me. It's the you've literally gone from the transit van era up to major mega tours, right? Yeah. You've seen the whole development of that, literally the development of rock as we know it today, and that's just incredible to think about that.
In fact, we just recorded that yesterday.
We just
recorded all that from the transit to the tour buses to
private airplanes.
But we are going to need
jets for the luggage.
We are going to need someone to do subtitles because nobody, when we're all talking at the same time.
Brian, he doesn't speak the language.
Well, I don't speak English. Neither do at least 3 of you. I mean, Mark probably does speak English quite well. The others
Thank you very much. I'm with Gloria.
He's a hillbilly.
You only talk American.
He's a carrot cruncher.
American. Can you talk American as the
American.
Well, I did live in the States for about 12 years, so I can...
Yeah, and so does Wilko. And
He knows where the sidewalk is.
it is. But Dustin and Pope are from the US. You can understand these guys okay, can't you?
As much as I understand.
Read this.
Yes.
Yeah. We understand you guys just fine. I mean, even like the stuff you say, like I knew when he said something about anchor and it rhymes with, I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
So I'm going to throw a word out. Actually, I'm going to throw a word out that we used before we started the show, Kazi. Who knows what the Kazi is?
I just went there.
He's just been there.
Well, see if any of the people that are watching...
Does anybody in the chat know what the Kazi is? We'll wait and see if they do, because it's a particular thing that people in Britain go to, the Kazi.
Yeah, I think it stems back to the occupation of India.
Yeah, see there.
Yeah.
Smart aleck. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of terms come from that. There's a lot of terms.
Kazi I don't know what a Kazi is in India. Maybe it is a toilet, but the Kazi is a toilet.
Is it related to a dunny?
Yeah, a dunny.
It is, yeah, a dunny.
It's the same
It's a
thing.
Kazi. Not a Casbah. It's much less glamorous than the Casbah, Courtney.
Yeah.
It's the toilet.
The Khyber Pass is another one as well. It rhymes with...
Please don't talk.
Yeah, it's the Khyber Pass.
I guess
that one I know for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Having been sent to Afghanistan.
Oh, really? Oh, right. So you know exactly where that is. Is it really
And
the
some of the
Osborne
glorious
Wall?
creations that came out of it.
Yeah, Andy's got it. It's the shit house, the Kazi. But I mean, I've been in the military too, and so has Pope, and you pretty much you make your own Kazi sometimes, depending on where you are. But
The world is your Kazi.
so I just
busy around here this morning.
But just getting down to those that level of detail when you're, especially in the early 70s when it wasn't so big, well organized, there must have been a lot of times you were caught short in various ways and had to just,
Well, that came later in life, I think.
yeah. Like, just the basics of where we're going to eat, where we're going to go to the bathroom, where we're going to sleep. Must have been a bit of a nightmare.
How did you get a phone call? How did you get in touch?
Well, funny you should mention that, Brian. I was on a tour bus tour with the band Dred Zeppelin, and they were all costumes. Mm-hmm. So when the Elvis character was half into his outfit, we sometimes would just use the bus as a dressing room because he didn't want to be getting changed and moving around in the club. So one night he said, I really, really need a dump. So I said, well, you can't do it on the bus.
That was the rule.
And he couldn't.
Number one on the bus.
Because it's like a savings account. You put something in, you get interest. So the whole thing was, I said, well, you can't do it on the bus. And he said, I'm almost Elvis. I can't go in the club. So I said, here's what I'll do for you. I said, I put a plastic bag in the bowl on the bus, and he dropped a log in there, right? Oh. And I got rid of it. He didn't know. So I come to the side of the stage. I had a similar plastic bag with some sand and gravel in it, and I was swinging it. Like it looked like his bag of poop. Julie's trying to sing, and I'm swinging this bag of poop. And I came and I hung it on a cymbal stand, and he's like, he didn't know it was just.
Was it a fairly lengthy and consistent one? Or
I've never heard that before.
Yeah,
That's a great one.
Cheers, Joe. Thanks for being here.
I did it all worked out. There's a bit of gravel, but
you should have got him to sign the bag, and then you could have auctioned it off on eBay or something.
People are buying it. They're buying my underpants right now.
Well, Davina has got the academic thing. Kazi, supposedly African in origin and derived from the southern Bantu word for toilet, makazi.
Well, it could be East Africa's got a lot of Indian people, so
right back down south there in the.
See, we're having a geography lesson now. See how intellectual this could be.
Culture.
See how intellectual this could be.
Yes,
I saw myself as a Vespa da Gama. Vespucci.
So you're like an Italian scooter.
That's what you're
saying. An Italian scooter.
We were explorers.
Vespa.
Yeah.
You're a Vespa.
I'm a Vespa.
So, but you are you're erudite world travelers.
Some of us.
Yeah. Yes. So, speaking of that, though,
erudite.
What would you say that you guys are all experienced veteran tour managers? What are the most important qualities that such a person needs to have?
Money.
Tough question.
Love of music.
Without money, you can do anything you like.
But what are to be a tour manager and balance all this stuff,
Detail.
or just a roadie?
Details.
You have to go by detail.
Good on
7
detail.
days a week on it all the time.
You've got to be on it. You've got to be you not just
Phone call,
not
phone
just
call,
the day. The day. Wait, you've got to be ahead of yourself all the time.
Yeah,
You've got to be up front, ahead of yourself. Advanced work,
planning.
lots planning. Yeah,
I do as
You
much.
can
I
do
do as
that.
much advanced work before a tour than what I do when I'm on the tour.
and you've got to be very versatile.
I want to go on the
as well,
tour without
to be
having
able
to do
switch
any
very
more advanced
quickly.
work.
Boobs.
You know.
Boobs do get you further. If you had boobs, that would work too.
It only
Matt's
gets you
got
that,
some. Matt's got some.
it only gets you that far, guys. It's only gets you that far. Then all of a sudden, it's like,
It looks like when you get to our age, we need the man's ear that they had on Seinfeld. The man's ear.
Matt
Or
definitely
the bro.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so you're planning. I've been a project manager in previous careers, and it sounds like it's a lot of project management.
Yeah, it is. It is project management.
Well,
and versatility. Because the artist will sometimes, the talent will sometimes change their mind at the last minute.
Yeah,
You've got to switch. So you can't be rigid, too rigid.
Yeah, because I was going to ask, how do you balance that, the needs or expectations of the talent, with what you got to do to keep this whole thing moving on the road?
Get an assistant.
Assistant.
I like to do the advanced planning and stuff, so I don't have to do so much on the road.
Well, exactly.
But you've got to be. You've got to be alert enough to deal with anything that happens, whether flights get cancelled, whether, all kinds of
Anything can go wrong.
Anything can go wrong. Hotels can be misbooked, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I was on tour with the Pretenders briefly. So, and we were doing a show with the B-52s. And one of the parents died from the B-52s, unfortunately. So they cancelled the gig. And we landed, I was with Chrissy, and we landed in Chicago. And we went, right, now what do we do? We arrived there, no hotel, nothing. The venue was 300 miles away. So we said, well, we'll have a couple of days in Chicago. So it was that quickly shuffle to find somewhere to stay. As it happened, there was some huge thing going on in Chicago at the time, and
hotels
trying to find hotel rooms was crazy.
Wasn't
we finished up spending a fortune on hotel rooms because there was such a demand at the time. It's a last minute thing, but that's what you got to do.
And it was all on the phone then. I mean, it was just phone calls.
No mobile.
Just landline phone,
landline phones.
And then initially, the most you had was like a telex. You'd go to the agency and send a telex.
We used to have more travel agents in those days.
And then, obviously, with faxes, you could fax, so you got your
I remember when email came out, it was staggering.
Yeah.
You didn't have to know where anybody was to get them a message. I mean, it's
big difference.
I've still, being the collector I am, I've still got my original Radio Shack little laptop. You could do 2 lines of text, and you had to plug your phone into these acoustic couplers.
Yeah.
I hung on to them just for fun. I have a little museum at home. And you'd have to do dial-up.
Yeah.
But you could. Everybody used it for sending naughty jokes more than production. You know what I mean? Now,
well, it's like they say that the rule, whatever the rule is, that anything that can be invented is immediately used for porn or
cat videos.
It's so. But I'm just thinking more of the talent. The talent, who are, let's face it, are meant to be kept happy because they're the whole reason.
They get in the way.
There's a structure there as well. Depending on the hierarchy of the band as well. If that's your talent says this is what's happening, that's what's happening. The others are going to bitch, but if the star says this is what's happening,
you had to know who that person was.
Yeah.
The legend.
Like intimately.
Yeah.
Because
the
band leader, really.
I had, example was we were somewhere in Italy, and we were supposed to have a few days off in Milan, and the manager of the band, Pink Floyd, phoned me at 2 a.m. and said, Mel, we're going to Positano in the morning. Get the crew, the flight crew, because we were flying on a private aeroplane, get them up, get the plane ready. I want to leave at 9 o'clock in the morning. I said, did Dave and Nick know this? No, you better tell them. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm not going to just do it, you know. And you think, oh, no.
When you say Dave and Nick, you're Dave.
Mason. And so, but, you know, Steve was a very strong person, the manager of Pink Floyd, Steve O'Rourke. And so they just all went along with it, you know.
So is that like him? Is he really telling the band what to do, or I mean, are they happy with it?
That's the manager.
Yeah.
You got your tour manager, and then you've got the manager. Who is above the band leader, really.
Yeah. Business manager,
He convinced them, it's better to be in Positano, you know, which is a beautiful place on the Amalfi Coast of Italy. Fantastic, you know, but getting there, it's a nightmare. Yeah, I said, the pilot's not allowed to. He's just left the bar at midnight. You know, we practically had because the pilots are not allowed to. And he said, I don't care. Get Nick to fly the plane.
Yeah, get another pilot.
It's dangerous enough going in a plane as a rock star without having a drunk pilot.
Oh, that's right.
You need to tempt fate. There's already enough danger.
I know, enough deaths of rock stars on planes already. But so we talk about divas. I mean, I know you're not going to get into too much diva, but you must have experienced some diva behavior.
Yeah,
in your experience,
almost every day.
Yeah. I don't mean amongst each other. I mean amongst.
That's all the time.
No, I mean the sort of diva of the band sort of thing.
But,
you know?
Yeah.
What's diva for the male? What's the male equivalent?
It's still a diva. Still a diva.
Is this still the same?
So I mean, some examples of that behavior. You don't have to name names, but
there's the classic dressing room thing. You know. Why don't we get this stuff? I thought I asked for white wine, not red wine. I mean, you know, and you know, they won't accept a slight variation to the meal or something like that. And get all stroppy about it. But I think the word diva is more to women, but it's,
we know what you mean. There's always one that would throw a strop.
I was just suggesting that it wasn't all women.
One guy, well, they were all a bit diva-ish.
That's what I'm saying.
They were all a bit diva-ish in their own way. Get a bit stropped
out over something small.
Usually about the rider then, or M&M's or something, you know, brownie.
Yeah, I mean, there's those jokes, Still goes on.
It still goes on. Yeah.
I know, Wilko, I'm not want to put Emery on the spot to mention names, but you mentioned an act who wanted to build their own stage or something.
Oh, no, Slipknot.
Slipknot, okay.
Yeah, absolutely stupid. Stupid.
Yeah.
And, you know, you give the guy, I think they were just saying, get away from what we're doing. So he went off and he built a full-on metal stage for Ozfest.
60 guys.
I know this story because I worked with No Name at the time, and I knew Adrian Valera. And they talked about that. And they're like, and I even knew their tour manager at the time. Like, well, the tour manager may be previous or whatever, but and they were talking about how they wanted to do that all metal, and they basically had to say, no, that's too heavy. We got to make it out of wood.
Yeah, no, they made it. I mean, I wasn't the tour manager. I was the freight guy.
Yeah.
But I knew them all, and I went and looked at this thing. I went, you're looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it was starting off in Europe just to get it there and rent it in Europe because it's cheaper. The amount, no, we need this. But that tour they had like 6 extra trucks with nothing in it just to make them look big.
Jesus.
That's not diva-ish.
You know, I mean.
I would never find that.
That's PR. That's just PR.
So was Sully their tour manager at that time?
Who?
Sully?
Sully
the Bull? Or do you know? Do you remember?
I can't even remember.
I just remembered something. I mean, it's not on the same scale as that, but I remember doing it in the 80s. I'd get a phone call can you go to Hawaii tomorrow? Can you do this? I'll get jobs like driving a truck across country. And I remember getting this phone call. It was some famous rock band, and I honestly can't remember them, but they were well known. And they had a load of fake 4x12s, cabinets that had to get to Florida. And I got paid about $3,000 to deliver a load of fake equipment, because that's what their stage set was, a couple of amps, but everything was this big wall of fake 4x12s.
Oh, yeah.
Normal occurrence, though.
Yeah, but I made about $3,000 for that.
So, fake backdrop with fake amps, but a tiny little speaker in one of them. Yeah, just
I mean, everybody from Pantera, everybody did that.
Right. The most undiverous person I ever met.
Just to finish off Slipknot, the first 3 gigs they did just paid for the freight getting there. When it all finished, I sat in their office for 3 weeks. I arrive at 9 o'clock and go, get my comics out and get my papers, because they owed me money and I wouldn't leave.
Oh, excuse me.
And finally they were like, here, get the fuck out of the office. It was just crazy. They were mental. No thoughts of anything. Just, we wanted.
Well, that's, when you're talking about empty 4x12s and stuff like that, that's part of the stage show. So, I mean, lots of bands provide stuff on stage show just to make it look good,
mystique.
Yeah, I mean, but actually, I don't know whether I, write off, 3 extra semis just to carry in.
They're empty.
Just empty semis, just to think that the band is big is just ridiculous. I mean, it was
also their first big tour. I mean, humongous. The headline.
But it's carrying the amount of semis,
Yeah, but they just wanted that Slipknot right across all the trucks and everything.
Well, I imagine there's a line there too, right? Like, there's like a line below which, like, as the tour manager, you just won't sign off on something. Like, oh yeah, we want 4 semis to make the tour look bigger. Like, no, I'm not paying for that. Go away.
The manager just overlooked everything.
Yeah, it depends. If it's a promotional thing, it's a different. You got a different take on it. If it's got Slipknot written all over it, it's a big advert going down the road, isn't it?
But you were the freight agent. You weren't actually.
I had nothing to do with it. Yeah.
Just going to ask Dustin and Pope if you guys could just cover for me for 2 minutes. I got to take a quick break, so keep going, everybody. Don't.
He's got to go to the dunny.
I can see the future, and I can see a visit to the Kazi.
In London, they call it the Bogle.
The Bogle, yes.
The Bogle, governor.
So I do have to. I will be back. Continue.
Okay. So who's taking over?
So, like, you guys had to know, like, that line as dealing with these people, dealing with your, the talent, if you will. You had to know when to hold your ground and when to let them get their way, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, that would happen before the tour.
Or you just, if they were totally crazy, you'd just say yes and then go out. Yes, I'll do that.
Agree.
And then just not do it.
That's like dealing with toddlers.
Too late.
We used to do that with our officers all the time. Like, they would come in and say something absolutely idiotic and, then walk away, and our sergeant would turn around and just be like, ignore everything he just said.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to use.
And a lot of times these musicians would forget anyway. I mean, next day they're just looking like
it was just a pout they were having.
Yeah.
It's like,
because if something didn't go right for them that day, they would throw a wobble and then make silly demands, and you go, "Yeah, I'll get that sorted," and then the next day it was forgotten about anyway.
Yeah, I always found it hard to pander to everyone's, sort of whimsical sort of, I just like either not do it or argue about it and say, "Well, I'm not doing it." Do it yourself. If you want to, I'm not going to wipe your ass. I'm not going to carry toilet paper around with me and wipe the fucking guitarist's ass.
I had a famous guitar player. I won't name him, but he's very, very famous. Told me, "Yeah, Mel, go and get me some cocaine." And I said, "Nah." He said, "Go and get me some cocaine." I said, "I'm not going to get you any cocaine." He said, "That's your job to look after me. Go and get, I said, "No, I'm not getting you any cocaine. You want some cocaine? Go get it yourself." And I didn't get him any cocaine. Whether he got it himself or not, I don't know. But he's.
I think you got to be like
he's a stand up god of a guitar player, shall I say?
Otherwise they won't be asking you for every fucking little
Yeah, he said, that's what I pay you for. I said, you don't pay me.
One guy that's always late.
There is a limit, there is a line where you accept the responsibility or whatever it is that they're requesting. Or, if it's ridiculous, then you got to say
there would be managers and people on the tour that would go, if the talent said, go and get me cocaine, they would run off.
The brown noses in the business.
Yeah, they probably want to go do it because they'd be like, well, I'm going to take a little off the top.
A little percentage.
Yeah. I remember the guy once was giving me some drugs for a musician and said, and he went, oh, don't give him that. I said, why? He said, he doesn't know what a gram of coke looks like. And he took half of it out. He said, give him that. He thinks that's what a gram looks like.
That'd be miserable these days. You never know what you're going to give your people if you're giving them that kind of stuff.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, well, we had to do quality control. I got flown out from London out to Ilversum in Holland to the recording studios with a band. And I went and they said, oh, bring this guitar from my studio at home, bring it out to Ilversum. But what I'd gone out there for was to test the cocaine. I arrived and they had this pile in front of them. And they said, Mal, can you check that see if it's any good? I said, okay, I'll take it to my room and I'll let you know in a little while.
In a laboratory.
They've got little test kits now. They've got test kits to check for fentanyl.
Yeah.
This was like, I was doing it when drugs were drugs, none of this chemicals. Yeah.
Was that in your contract, Mal, that you had to do that, though? That was actually written in your contract?
You thought, some jobs you've just got to bite the bullet, don't you, and go.
Well, versatility, as you said. So,
not all bands take drugs, by the way.
Just 99.5%.
Well, there's a lot that do. There's a lot of crews that do, but it's not the same as it was back in our day. I don't think. Well, not on my crew anyway.
Well, I think we've seen, though, the amount of effort it takes for what you guys did, that, you could party a bit, but there's a point beyond which you just couldn't do it. I mean, it's physical, long days, long effort.
It's the same thing now. You finish the gig, get to bed, get up early-ish, travel the whole day, do the sound check, get the meal in, do the gig, back to the hotel. You can't keep boozing and snorting till 3 a.m. and be down for breakfast.
No, exactly. Yeah, it's just there is a physical. It's a physically hard job.
Yeah,
here's the way to do it. You just don't go to bed. Many times.
Back in the day, we probably never went to bed a lot.
Right.
These days, I'm afraid that's.
Well, given what you guys have said about the early days where they didn't even give you money for hotels, going to bed wasn't an option.
I slept in the truck.
Yeah.
Sitting up. At that age.
Do it on the plane.
It's only looking back now we realise, we should have had a hotel then. It was just like, we're driving to Stirling and back the next day. It was like, we went all the way to Stirling with one thing.
Hey, well, at least you'd get to see William Wallace's statue, though, wouldn't you?
Who booked that for?
That's what I mean.
So I just wanted to mention what Davina was saying here. So Kazi, a popular Scouse and Cockney phrase originating in the 19th century. Kazi is a corruption of the... Someone's just taking that away from me there.
Casa.
So somebody's taken away when
It's me. I'm sorry.
Corruption of the Italian phrase casa, meaning house, immortalized by the Kazi of Calabar in Carry On Up the Khyber.
Educational program. We could probably get a grant from the government to do this show.
So Carry On Up the Khyber.
You go from the Second World War time, or maybe even before that.
But Newcastle, in Newcastle in England, they call the toilet the netty. You think, where did that come from? It's from the Roman occupation. They used to they had cabinetti with the toilets, cabinetti, and it was still used the word netty.
Netty.
Wow.
Language over
this is the show where you learn some important things.
Never too old to learn.
Information you'll never use. But
see, this is what the BBC should be.
That's right.
Thank you. Promote that, man.
Yeah, so, but Davina mentions a famous British institution again that you guys and I all know about. Carry On, the Carry On movies. Carry On Up the Khyber being one of the.
You can probably watch one on English TV every day.
That's right. And Carry On Up the Khyber is one of the best ones. The Devils in Skirts.
Yeah. Oh, well, you would say that, wouldn't you, Brian? Right. Hey, why? Why'd you say that?
So if anyone watching has never seen a Carry On movie, it's a British institution. They made them for about 40 years, mainly with the same cast. Yeah. With lots of guest stars here and there, but they were all just like spoofs of things like spy movies, this Roman Carry On Cleo.
Carry On
Roman
Cleo.
one.
Yeah.
Infamy. They've all got it. Infamy. So again, it's like status quo. Nobody in North America knows them, but it's a British institution.
Yeah.
So I wanted to just, we've got about 20 minutes left. Wilko, I know you did a lot of the tour accounting. How difficult was it to keep the finances running on a tour and keep that budget balanced with all the shit that's going on? Was that really tough?
No.
To just keep it all on track, or was it all?
No. I mean, you're not doing tour management, so the whole concept is cash, obviously. So when I used to leave, there was no computers. None of that was involved back in the day. I used to have printouts of everything, what I was picking up in the box office, printout of payroll, per diem, hotels, and that's what I basically did. I was on top of all of that stuff. The band didn't check out. The tour manager would run out with the band, and I had already checked them out, And the box office, the band would leave. I'd be in the box office for another 2 hours.
I hated doing that.
It was all money. And in those days, it was always like, well, why have you got 12 drum risers? I've only got one drummer. And all that shit would come in. And it's like, and they go, well, rehearsals. I'm like,
it's still the same drum riser.
Yeah, it was like all this nonsense used to go on, and promotion and, well, how much promotion money did you put into the show? All of this. Well, show me the backup. Well, I don't have it. Well, you better have it, because if you don't, I'm not going to pay you. And all these guys would put all kinds of shit in there,
But this is you. So that's probably a better scenario though, where you were having to pay them than you trying to get money out of them.
Oh no, I was trying to get money out of them, but I want to get as much money for the band. The promoters would play all these games. Not so much now, but back in the 70s and 80s.
Fattening up the expenses.
There was just
padding the expenses.
Well, I've heard a lot of horrendous tales from even major bands like Led Zeppelin and getting ripped off, and Pink Floyd got ripped off many times, and in the 70s, not in the 80s.
New York, Led Zeppelin lost the night's takings from Madison Square Garden. They've disappeared out of the safe.
Yeah, Jesus.
But
that sounds like a them problem.
I did
Answer to that.
With the Allman Brothers. I did, out of about all the shows I did, the 3 years I was with them, I did, I think, 4 ticket drops, and everybody hates that. And I just went, look, I'm not playing your effing game, so I'm leaving. I'll come back in 3 hours. I want all these tickets in 100 piles, and you got 20,000 sell out, right? And they go on. And the promoters go, no, we didn't sell out. And I'm like, let's count the tickets. And they just get big black bags where they put all the tickets in and just empty them, and all the staff, the young kids, were like, we want to go and see the gig. It's like, I want all these. I'll be back in 2 hours. I'm counting them in hundreds. That's how.
Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah. So all that was totally backstage stuff. It was just the way to do it. And every night before I went to bed, I filled out everything. So when I started next day, it was all gross into the net, what was left.
Can I add a little character background to that description there? Because when we all first met Wilko, he was a window cleaner. And
Not a window licker, a window cleaner.
And so when Wilko joined us. He was literally, we knew nothing. Wilko knew even less at the beginning. I'm not putting him down for it. So by the time we were gigging in 73, 74, Wilko was at a certain level. But, and then he got the call to go to the Average White Band in the States. And I didn't see him for about 3 months. So I see Wilko in England, drunk, laying in the gutter, burbling and drooling, right? The next time I see him...
Much like today.
I was right alongside him.
Yeah.
But the next time I see Wilko is in New York City. He's been with the Average White Band about 4 months. I meet him and I'm going, he had a haircut. He was wearing like Armani clothes. He had a Halliburton $350 briefcase. He sits down, pops it open, and he has all these manila folders. I thought, Wilko, I didn't even know you could write.
What drugs are you taking for
Wilko
that? Yeah.
landed in New York and talked about somebody finding his place. I was going like, and he was teaching me, he said something to the band, I'll see you in the lobby at 2. I said, you told me, he goes, slap. You always tell them tour manager time. I'm like, you always tell them a different time. And I'm going, is this really you?
That's right, yeah.
Odd person.
That's true.
It must have been powerful drugs he took to change to that, yeah.
He found his place. Hartlepool was one place, London, he found his place in the States.
Learning on the job is the best way to learn. That's my experience in life.
You had to learn, run it.
Back to doing the accounting, my first gig was with the Allman brothers, right? And it wasn't Madison Square who was on the island, the big gig on the island.
Middlelands.
Middlelands. Nassau Coliseum.
Yeah, Nassau Coliseum.
Sorry.
So it was, I'd done about 5 gigs and I'd gotten through it. But this was like massive and it was sold out. And the accountant actually walked in with me. And he just looked around and he goes to the promoter, who was Ron Delsner, he goes, let's go and do the settlement now. I want to see the show. And I'm like, okay. This accountant just went, blah, 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 and you give me a check for $175,025. And Ron Delsner went, looked at me and I went, I have no fucking clue what he's talking about. So he just gave me a check. And he goes, well, I'm going to watch the show. And Ron and I went, it's okay. We went through everything he said for 2.5 hours, and he was right on the button. We just went through it, just like, where did you get that from?
But where did the cash go? So when you got the cash every night, what did you do with the cash?
In the pub.
There's a lot of hookers in New York. There's a lot of hookers in Times Square.
I was picking up. We weren't doing big venues. There were clubs, small theaters and clubs, and I was picking up cash every night. And basically, I was running the tour off of this cash I was picking up every day. Paying for the truck drivers, paying for the bus.
Yeah, well, it's hand to mouth at that stage.
It was covering the bills. So there wasn't a vast amount of surplus cash. But every morning, I'd get a phone call from London, the manager in London. Mel, did you pick up cash last night? Yeah. Send it to me.
Yeah.
No. What do you mean, no? I said, no. I'm out here. I'm the tour manager. I need the money on the tour.
Yeah.
No. You've got to send it. Are you getting cash tonight? Yes. Well, send me that. No, I need it. Every day. He called me every single day of that tour, asking me to send the cash back to England. Yes. No, I ain't doing it. I've got per diems to pay. I've got truck
hotels,
I've got the
pay for the hotel damage,
hotels.
Well, when I did the Meatloaf tour,
did I say that?
In 1980,
yes, you did.
I did the Meatloaf tour, and I was a tour manager. And the first week, I was sending the money back, and all of a sudden, the band walked up and went, "We haven't been paid for a week." And I went, "Okay, good one, because if you haven't been paid, I haven't been paid." Yeah. So I called the wife, and she goes, "Not one check's coming." I went, "Okay." So it kept, after that, all the money was going in my pocket, and I was going, "How much are you owed? How much are you owed?" And I was doing all this stuff for the entire last part of the tour. Now you're looking at, I've got a plaque at home with, thanks Wilko for helping doing $1 million of the business. I think I did over 12 million in the box office and 20 odd million in merchandise. But this business manager, I won't mention his name, in New York, was going, "You'll never work in the business again, you mother effer." And I'm going, "I'm on tour. Do you want the tour to finish?" "Yes." "Then this cash from now on pays payroll. You don't have to do anything. They'll sign for it, the per diems, all the hotels, because if I keep sending you money, you're putting me into a jeopardy of not getting the tour from A to B. So that ain't going to happen, you know." And this guy, I'm not mentioning his name, went in and he wrote everything off. He's like, "You'll never work again." 2 days later, I walked back in. "What are you doing here?" "I work for a foreigner." "How you doing, mate?"
That's right.
You know what I mean?
He's back.
Yeah. Like, are we gonna do this dance again? You know. But they tried it on. It was just they always wanted everything in the office, all the cash, all the checks, so they could control it.
Yeah, but you needed control too.
They want to take their commission out, don't
The
forget.
commission all the
that's what
time.
happened.
We were in
They don't
Italy.
realise the amount of money you need.
With Peter Gabriel. I wasn't the tour manager, but the promoter paid us in cash, right? So we got back to the hotel, and it was short. Right, that's it. So we counted it. It was still in lira. That was a lot of lira.
Yeah.
You ever tried counting a million anything?
Yeah. And so we called the promoter and said, "It's short." You know, no, it's not. It's short. And we'll wait for you in the lobby. Bring the money over. Bring the money. And he walked in, and it was about 1 a.m. in this nice plush hotel. And he walked in with all this money, and he just threw it. "There's your fucking money." You know.
Wow.
At least you got it though.
Yeah, we got it. You know, but that's it. You've got to be, you've got to
watch
keep an eye
everybody.
on the guys.
Yeah.
You know,
Were there? I mean, you mentioned the
money
Led Zeppelin.
around, people will get greedy. You know.
Oh God, yeah. And I was going to say, you mentioned the Led Zeppelin Madison Square Garden thing. Were there some shady characters hanging around, perhaps with black violin cases and?
Yeah. You've seen the movie, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Was there a lot of that?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
people
That's
that
all I'm
were.
going to say, because they might come and get
That's
me.
nothing.
Yeah, it must have been because when cash is around, there must have been a lot of. You know what? Where's our cut?
What's the guy said in the Godfather? We're just the buffers.
Yeah.
What are buffers?
The Allman brothers, Steve Misowski, God bless you. He didn't tell me this, but I arrived with a band.
Is he on the roof?
And,
He's on the roof right now.
The sunlight.
And so I get to London, and there's one promoter for all throughout Europe. And what I didn't know there was $70,000 missing. He hadn't paid it. So he met me in London with a money belt with Dutch money, German money, Italian money, American money, and English money, all in pouches.
In a belt. Yeah.
What am I supposed to fucking do with this? He goes, "You want it for 75 grand? It's all yours."
Wear it.
And I did all through the entire effing tour.
Yeah. Because it must have been some pretty shady people hanging around these tours, I would have thought.
Yeah, it was
Trying
me.
to get in.
Me.
Yeah, it was you. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
you were the
it was-
shadiest.
I'll be pulling out different money going, "Look, check this."
You outshaded them.
Wilko's from Wagga.
Yeah, from
Sure, you're the hard man.
Straight off the street.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was for the rest of you who are all well brought up boys. What was it like working with an urchin?
Wow.
Not me. I was in the street just below East.
Oh, you're urchins.
It was
Yes.
next street over.
I'm the wuss. I'm the grammar school wuss.
Yeah,
You're the grammar school.
I'm
That's
big.
why you.
I'm
That's
big
why
and
you.
loud.
yeah, he's a big.
Yeah. So we're almost out of time, but there's a couple more things I wanted to ask. You guys have worked with an awful lot of acts. Is there anybody you haven't worked with that you would have loved to have worked with?
I went the band called The Soft Machine. I loved the drummer, Robert Wyatt, but they were very esoteric, but they had an electronic keyboard. So when I first came to London, I didn't have the confidence to even approach them. And I was like, they say, don't ever meet your heroes. But I got to know Robert Wyatt later on. But that was a band I would like to have done some work with them because I was really into their music.
I would love to have worked with Eric Clapton. You know, I met him several times, and I would have really
What's going on with the shoes here, boys?
Yeah, well, of course he worked with Phil Collins. Phil Collins worked with him a lot. And
yeah. Well, 1976 when I flew home and I got a job with Van Morrison in 76, 77. I was working with Van, and we went to see Eric a couple of times. And I took my daughter. Eric was doing this Butland's holiday camp. A strange venue
strange brew.
And so I took my daughter along with me, who was about 6 years old, and it happened to be my birthday. Maybe this is why I love Eric, but I'd been to see him with Cream. I'd seen him several times. But I sat there and
T-shirt right there.
They played. They said, this one, Layla, we're going to play Layla. It's for Mal. It's his birthday today. He's sitting out there, And my daughter was like, Dad, that's you.
It's always called Layla. Yeah.
No.
No. She didn't say, oh, my God, Dad, you're old. I
didn't know you were that old, yeah. So
it's lovely, yeah.
Years old, and so Eric done, so
that's very nice.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful thing.
Were you his van driver?
Oh, God.
There's an album by the Beat Farmers called Van Gogh.
Oh.
Which is quite a good pun. I think it's a picture of a transit van. So yeah, what about? I mean, I know that Will. I think Wilko, you said you'd worked with Wings briefly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but has anyone worked with the Stones? Did you do any work with the Stones ever? Any of you guys?
No. Just drank with Mick a couple of times.
Lend them money.
Yeah, lend them money.
Yeah. I went and they had a place. Forgotten where it was, somewhere in Wiltshire or somewhere like that, Startling Studios, right? And I went and looked that over for Richard Branson because he was going to buy it to turn it into another Manor Studios, So never worked with the Stones. No.
Yeah, Branson's a interesting guy.
I done my first for Virgin Records. I worked with. I've done a tour of America with a band called Steve Illage.
Oh, Steve Illage! I love Steve Illage.
Yeah,
I've got tons of his albums.
An act for ELO, in about 1970. I don't know when it was. Yeah. I've got the T-shirt. I know.
He does a great cover of "It's All Too Much" and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm a big Steve Illage fan.
Guitar player, quite unique what he did. He was a different kind of style. But I was tour manager on that. And that was Virgin Records' first ever band.
You were the first one of us to get into handling the artists directly. We were Four Roadies, and then Wilko got into tour managing. Yeah, you made the first.
So
that's incredible. Yeah, I mean, to have worked with a guy like Steve Illage, I mean, not a lot of people even know who he is these days.
Right, exactly. I've got a credit on one of his albums.
Yeah,
on the album on the vinyl, and
it's interesting that Courtney mentioned punk, but Steve Illage ended up doing a punk album. I think he worked with Sham 69 or somebody. He did a punk album just to be different. He was trying to reinvent himself a little bit. But I'm a big fan of Steve Illage, and Mike Oldfield is one of my favorite artists. We talk about Virgin Records. It's a guy I've always regretted never having seen live in any time.
Not many people have seen him live.
Yeah, Mike Oldfield's a genius in my opinion. Weird, but a genius. Yeah, well, exactly. I guess the two things go hand in hand. But
we did some gigs with Steve Illage in Germany. On one of the German
I didn't work with them in Europe. I just didn't work with him.
No, but he was on tour with us, and we were sharing a stage, and we had a big backdrop screen went between them, and I was just behind on the drum riser when he was on stage.
What kind of work, Mark?
Well, it's kind of personal. I was just getting to know someone.
Sex work is still work. Granny, sex work is still work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Someone's got to do it.
Keeping the economy moving along.
Yeah.
No, it's.
I didn't knock over any cymbals on the drum riser behind her.
Yeah. Anyway, we're getting we're probably got only 2 or 3 minutes to go, and we're going to wrap up. I'd like to thank everybody that's been here in the chats. chat today and listening out. So on YouTube and Rumble, Facebook, and everyone that's out there in KGRA Digital Broadcasting, thank you for being here. And thanks to Pope and KGRA. Dustin and Martin and John that have been on the panel. Chat has been fantastic. Courtney and Davina and others, really appreciate you.
Courtney's sitting on her hands.
Yeah. So what's in the
sitting on my hands for Courtney?
Yeah. I'm sitting on my hands because it's so bloody cold in this basement right now.
Oh, there too.
Yeah. So
Mark,
what's in
the heating on?
I've had plenty of heating on.
I've got my sweatshirt on.
Well, as soon as we get off, we'll get back to fighting again. So,
I think celebrity roadie deathmatch on screen would have been great, but.
I want to say thanks for having us on.
Yeah, we love this.
Yeah.
My pleasure and honor, guys. And please, everybody, check out Rock and Roll Rowdies. We do have to wrap. Thank you, guys. Love you very much. See you all soon.
Cheers, guys.
Right, guys. Thanks, guys.
Welcome to the Rock and Roll Rowdies.
Yay!
Yay!